Hey Electrom friends, Tig here. I'm just going to do a quick video about brakes. A number of people are having an issue where every once in a while their brakes stick on, and you can tell this is happening if you look on your main console. When the brake lever is squeezed, that little lever symbol down in the lower left hand corner is the symbol of an active brake lever, and then if I let go of the brake, it goes back into the throttle. And so if you should find, you're accelerating out of a corner and that symbol is still on and you're not getting any throttle response, you've all probably, not all of you, but some of you may have had this happen. This is a stuck brake signal magnetic sensor, and it's in the brake levers where the problem is, and I'm just going to show you how to fix it. Okay. So here's our brake lever, and one of the things that will be helpful to work on this is to loosen off and get our handguard out of the way. And so the simplest way to do this is undo the Phillips head bolt. You don't have to undo it all the way. We're basically just removing the pressure, and that allows me, having loosened off that bolt, I can now pop this out of its housing. There we go, and that gets the guard out of the way. So now what we're doing, we have two things we're working on here. We have a set screw, which is this right here, and that is a 2.5 mil Allen key set screw, and all the job that has to do is to hold this banjo nut in place. And it's the banjo nut that we're looking to adjust. And the way that these brake sensors work is in here, there is a magnetic sensor, and when we squeeze the lever, the plunger moves down in the cylinder here. So the plunger moves down in the cylinder, and the plunger has a magnet embedded in it. And when that magnet passes by the sensor that's embedded in here, it basically just trips a simple switch. Just an on-off switch. And so what we're having happen is when we have been using the brakes and then we let go, the brake lever comes back up, but that magnetic sensor is still thinking it's in a triggered position. And the way that these nuts, adjustment nuts, work is once we loosen this off, if I were to screw the nut in, it would push the sensor further up into the barrel and would make the brake more active, and if we loosen it off, it will make the brake less active. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it less active. And so we don't take this screw all the way out. It's just a set screw to stop this nut from moving around. And I'm simply going to loosen this off 2 turns. And those weren't even complete turns, so that was 2 half turns of my wrench, so basically that was 1 complete turn. And then let's go up here and have a look at the brake sensor. When I squeeze the brake lever, does the brake sensor still come on? It does. It's coming on a little bit later, but it is still coming on before I'm actually moving into serious physical braking where the caliper is squeezing on the rotor. And that's what we want. We want the regen braking to be triggered before physical braking of the hydraulic brakes on the rotor. And the fact is, actually, even if the caliper was touching the rotor a little bit while we were doing regen, we're still going to be doing so much more of our braking activity with regen than with the physical caliper that we're still getting the desired effect. So in my opinion, there's better to be erring on the side of caution, because you really don't want your brakes to end up stuck on by accident. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to loosen that screw off another full turn, or it's not a screw, I'm going to loosen that banjo nut is what it's called off another full turn, and then just double check that my brakes are still coming on at all. And as long as they do come on, then I'm going to feel satisfied with that. Okay, so we're back down, and I'm going to come off another 2 half turns, and I will double check that the brake does still come on. It does, and it is definitely coming on later, which is good. And so with that done, I'm going to tighten this set screw back up. And call that done. The set screw's done up. Give that a little tug. And then last, I will put this ball back into place, pop, and tighten up the Phillips head screw to hold this all in place. So that's all complete. That's the details of how to adjust your magnetic brake sensor on your hydraulic brakes. And one thing I should note is this will make the triggering activity that actually activates your regen braking be a little later in the throw of the brake lever. So this is something you'll want to account for and be prepared for. But the fact is, squeeze your brakes and your regen will come on, and let go and they will go off. Much more important to have that regen deactivate when you expect it to. And the downside of this is just your regen activates just ever so slightly later in the brake lever travel. I am much happier with that.